Day's breakfast. It's 10:15. I think his name is Thru. Dropped me off at the post office so I could mail some stuff back. And now I am heading back into the woods once I get through the town. So in town there's also a Dollar General, and then those are the murals and stuff we were looking at yesterday. There's a ton of them all over town. Some cool like names in the bricks. That's closer up of the mural. There's the Mount Rogers Outfitters, bike station, Lodge 1759, Creekside RV Park. I looked into staying here because they were on Airbnb, but it was going to be $400 for 2 nights. You really take the long way through town. This is Crazy Larry's. And some random houses. There's an actual trail here to walk on now. Before, you just kind of walking through people's front yards. And the lady gave me this little flower. So I'll keep that up until I lose it. But hopefully we're going back into the woods soon. There's like a bunch of dump trucks and stuff driving on this road. Keep almost blowing my hat off. There's a sign here about Virginia-Carolina Railway becoming the Virginia Creeper Trail, which I think is kind of cool that they take old railroads and make them into walking paths. We had the W&OD where I lived before. Alright, looks like we're finally done with this road walk. That was like a mile. I have a question for anyone who has ever uttered that Virginia is flat. What part of Virginia were you talking about, and how can I get there? So my hope for today is to get to Saunders shelter, which is currently 7 miles away. I have to keep going up this, and then there's a lot of down with some puds in it, it looks like. And then to get to the shelter, I have to go up. So that's the only thing that's making me think I might not make it, because it's 11 o'clock right now. I got a little bit of a late start, but oh well. And I mean, there's a lot of campsites in between here and there. I just want to get to the shelter because it has a bear box. And I'm not entirely sure I'm going to be able to close my bear bag all the way tonight, so that's why I want to get there. I was trying to not let what that guy at Boots Off said get under my skin, but it just keeps coming back into my head now. Because normally I only look like a week ahead. I'm like, alright, there's a 70-mile section, that's 10 miles a day, that's doable. And then if I look at the big picture, I have 1,700 miles left, and that stresses me out. I don't like thinking about that. I don't like thinking about how much time that's going to take. But he got under my skin, and I've been freaking out about that for the past 3 days. Because I'm like, at my current pace, it's probably going to take me 6 months to finish. And then once I get to the whites, I'm going to slow down because that's harder. How long is that going to take me? Like, I'm gonna have to flip-flop. Where am I gonna flip-flop? Am I gonna go from Shenandoah? Am I gonna hike as far north as I can get? Like, what am I gonna do? And that's so far off, and I keep trying to push it away, and it just keeps coming back. I'm having a rough day, if you can't tell. My back is super heavy. I've been trying to figure out how to reduce weight, and I use everything. I can't really get rid of anything. It's supposed to rain. It's kind of been sprinkling on and off, which is refreshing. And I'm kind of getting lonely. Because I see people I know every, 3 or 4 days. But they're usually like slack packing, or they're coming up behind me, and they pass me, or I see them in town really briefly, so I'm not really hanging out with anyone. Not seeing them at camp or hiking with them for a little bit. Because even with Snickers and Cadillac, I lost them after like probably 10 minutes. So that's fun. I think this is the top of the first big one today, the Iron Mountain Trail. Damascus is 3 miles back. There's a lot of puds coming up here, and then the big one again. I think it's maybe noon, so I have plenty of time to do this. In terms of like elevation, this section has been relatively flat. But the thing we gotta go up to get to the shelter is a bunch of switchbacks, so that's probably gonna be real steep. Damascus is 4 miles back according to this sign. It's a nice little stream crossing here. If it was warmer, I'd put my feet in, but it's kind of really humid, but it's not especially warm out. Who's Jeff? Or what is Jeff? Apparently there's a road crossing here. Bear warning. The Virginia bears also know how to get bags out of trees apparently, so they've installed 9 bear boxes between Damascus and Dickey Gap. This is also a really nice bridge. I don't know where it is, but somewhere, I think close, there's some river we have to ford. Or maybe it just had to be forded because there was a lot of rain in a particular day. I know once we get more north, there's a couple places. There's a pretty big river down there that we've kind of been following. If the walk up to the shelter is kind of like this, it might not be that bad. At this campsite, there's these big giant metal ropes. And they're like tied into the rock there. I can only assume that they're left over from the railroad. But they've been here for a very long time. We are going up into the switchbacks now. Damascus is 6 miles back. The Saunders shelter is 2 miles. I wonder what point in Damascus they're using. If it's like the edge of the center of town. Here we go, I guess. I should mention that it's 3:30. There is a little bit of rain coming. Nothing too bad, but I also having a signal to see if it's supposed to get worse or not. So I'm hoping to get up the shelter fairly quickly because it is a 1/4 mile off trail. I don't know if anyone else is going to be there because usually I try to skip shelters that are that far off, but I like the bear box. It is almost 4. I'm 1.2 miles from the shelter. I think I'm 0.7 from the turnoff to the shelter, which is good. This path up hasn't been the most horrible thing, but since I've just resupplied, my pack is heavy. I think I may have packed too many calories, but we'll see tomorrow, because hopefully I'll get out closer to 8 so I can get more miles in, and I'll eat more of my food so my bag closes. Almost there, very close. The Lost Mountain Shelter is 6 miles away. US 58 is 8 miles away. The Saunders Shelter is a quarter mile away. So, sometime after 4, maybe closer to 5. So we're gonna roll down here and hopefully be done for the day. So I am all set up at the Saunders Shelter. Today's mileage was 9.7. It wasn't too bad, but I way overpacked on food. I underpacked the last time I resupplied, and this time I was like, I'm gonna have calories, and now I have so much food. But there's a few other people here, Turtlefish and Trouble, and then 2 guys who are just doing a section, and they were at the Mount Laurel Inn with me a couple nights ago. So I'm kind of off by myself. So when you first walk into the shelter area, there's some trees. I'm over there. You walk a little bit further, that's the shelter, and then there's a grassy field behind it. And they're kind of all over there. So I'm not super far away, but Turtlefish and Trouble are planning on getting up at 5:30 and hiking, so hopefully I won't hear them release their alarm going off. So thank you for watching, and we'll see how far we get tomorrow.